Knowledge is like money. I got to get this out. I'm driving right now, but the last thing I want to do is stop somewhere or get somewhere, right, and pull over and get comfortable and start talking, because I can ramble. I'm top tier as far as rambling is concerned. I can do it, and I don't want to. And here I'm going, right? Knowledge is like money. For a long time, I think I worshipped. Forgive me if this sounds bad, but I worshipped at the altar of knowledge. I think you know what I mean. Don't take it the wrong way. Just like a lot of people worship at the altar of money. Knowledge is not a bad thing, and you can definitely shine a positive light on it. It's a lot like money, but as we know, with money, things can get dark. Knowledge is like that. Knowledge is something a lot like money. Knowledge is something that can free you. It can open doors. It can do all kinds of cool stuff. But knowledge can also is, in most cases, or certainly if you're not careful with it, and it doesn't take much, knowledge can end up being a burden. A lot of the stuff, I would have to say 95 to 99% of our problems, I'm just throwing a round number. I'm throwing an estimate out there. I don't know what the exact figure is, but a good amount of our problems, I gotta reevaluate that, actually. All of our problems, even the ones that we don't start ourselves, we feed into, and we make worse if we choose to. Our problems come, again, this is comparable to money, right? Our problems come from knowledge, and generally being overwhelmed by it and not knowing what to do with it. Any problem you have in your life right now, sorry, I've started rambling. I'll cut it short, I promise. Any problem you have in your life right now, or ever have had, actually, and chances are, if you're the thinking type, any problem you have had continues to be a problem. It's either never gone away, or it's gone away and come back. It just keeps on giving, right? It's a gift that keeps on giving. I can guarantee you examine any problem you have in your life, or have had, again, and it comes back to that. It comes back to knowledge, really. It comes back to the things you know, or the things you think you know, and the way you handle them. How many times have you had things happen in your life or around you that could become a problem, that most people would consider to be a problem, and they didn't bother you because this thing that happened that most people would consider problematic, maybe it didn't bother you because you either weren't aware of it, or if you were aware of it, you didn't take it too seriously. The problem always ends up originating with you, or you feed into something, but the problem starts from within. Even if you want to point the finger at something externally. Back to knowledge, right? Maybe you've had things happen around you that, because you weren't aware of them, or you didn't take them as seriously as somebody else might, they didn't burden you, they didn't cause you too much trouble. And then on the other hand, maybe you've had things that didn't have to be a problem, and you just your mind hyper focused on a thing, or framed it in a bad way, and it became a problem. It all comes back to you. And like I said, knowledge, again, in conclusion, right? as I said in the beginning, it's just like money. You know, knowledge can be framed in a good way, just like money. You know, plenty of people will defend money and knowledge as well. And that might be misguided. But to demonize knowledge, just like to demonize money, would be misguided as well. You know, these are, I guess you might say, these two are necessary evils. They are things in life that perhaps we can't really live without, we can't do without. But another comparison here, they're a bit like fire. You know, the invention of fire was brought to man, right? If you believe in mythology, you know, there was a god who brought it to us. If you believe in the Greek, or I believe the Roman mythology. But, I mean, fire is an element, right? Or it's an elemental thing, whatever. You know, I guess nobody invented it. It was discovered. But, yeah, fire is a part of this world. It is perhaps, at least to life today, and to life for as long as, you know, most of us can remember, you know, fire has been a necessary part of life, or at least a convenience. Yet, fire can be very dangerous if it's out of control. Sorry, got distracted here for a second. You know, fire can be an asset for humanity, but it can also be a liability. It can be incredibly dangerous. However, it's a part of this world, you know, so dangerous though it may be, we can't get rid of it. You know, we can't, and would we want to if we could, right? To slingshot back and to conclude for real this time, you know, fire, right? Convenient, dangerous, it's part of life. Money. You know, for the most part, it parallels, you know. Money is convenient, potentially dangerous. Hey, we can't do away with it, you know. Perhaps not for the same reasons, you know, not because it's a part of the, not because money's a part of the natural world, you know. Money is a man-made creation, but the value that tends to be behind money, you know, we can't do anything about that. We're gonna find a replacement, even if we could get rid of it and we wanted to. Now, to conclude, right, knowledge, very useful, potentially dangerous, a part of this world, a part of this life, for humanity at least, you know, and maybe depending on who you believe, you know, on other sentient beings, you know, maybe certain animals are capable of, pull over for a second. Depending on who you believe, you know, certain animals are capable of knowledge to a particular degree. But yeah, for humanity, certainly knowledge is useful, as I've already said, potentially dangerous, but we have to accept it as part of our lives, nonetheless, you know, dangerous though it may be. We can't do anything about it. We can sideline it, but I mean, it's like I said, it's a part of life. So if it's part of life, we might as well get the benefit that we can out of it without, yeah, you know, like I said, without allowing it to go out, to get out of control. And again, before I conclude for real, much like money and much like fire, it doesn't take all that much for something to get out of control, you know, for knowledge to become too much. You know, it's a potent thing, very concentrated, and a little goes a long way. And it doesn't take much before you get to the point where where, you know, you've got a proverbial hypothetical forest fire, so to speak, in your mind, you know. So it's, sorry for the shaking. So it's something to be careful with, you know. Accept it as part of life, part of this world, you know, part of life, sorry, part of our humanity. Get the use that you can the use that you can out of it, but be very careful, you know. As with a lot of other things in life, just be careful.